welcome you this morning to our fourth day of celebrations, where as a university we're celebrating our 60 years of existence, where as a university we decided to join hands with SASO when they celebrate their 50-year anniversary, the day it was formed here at the University of the North, then Turfloop. We have assembled, I don't know what adjective to use for the speakers we have here today, but know that these are from the top drawer. They are the best you could have ever assembled. We divided the week into themes. On Monday, we started with showing what the university did in contributing to the media fraternity. On Tuesday, we showed you what the university did in contributing to the scientific world. And yesterday, we were showcasing the judiciary, those who trained at the University of the North, and they are judges, they are judge presidents. Out of the provinces of South Africa, 4 of them, the judge presidents, were trained here at the University of Limpopo, the North then. And the number of judges which were here yesterday will always boast about them. I indicated before that the university played a major role in the social transformation of society. The University of the North did a lot. And those who put the university together, thinking that it will be a beautiful monument of apartheid, always look at it and say, this is where we put them together. Little did they know that putting us together here, we're going to reflect and compare experiences. And that comparison of experiences is the one which led to all what the university did. I welcome you all, but a special word of welcome to our speakers here. The first one, Professor Moshe, commonly known as Gesang, an academic of note, former Vice Chancellor, a writer, a former lecturer at this university, and student number 13. You know, you guys are already counting them in 2009, 2019. His was 13. Professor, thanks.
I'm going to be the one who will be driving the morning session. But I'm going to start by just
a grave mistake, and I'm very sorry for this. Fortunately, nobody reminded me. I reminded myself. There was a student here called Abraham Uhoputse Tiro. You've heard a lot about him, and after being expelled in 1972, he was harassed until he landed in Botswana, where he received, you know, the latest book sums it up well to say he received a parcel of death. He received a parcel bomb, and during that time, he was working at a school in Botswana. And today, we honor that the learners from Botswana Is it St. Joseph? St. Joseph. Here, could you just stand up? Good. So you can see what your university is doing. Here they are, all the way from Botswana to come and join us as we celebrate.
Thank you, VC. Also, I think the family of Abraham Kiro, they are with us to celebrate the beginning of the journey towards freedom. But I'm going to introduce a person who was very much senior to me when I came to this university. He was already a staff member of the University of the North then. And one significant, the rest you can read from this program. If you want to know more about the men I'm going to introduce, you can read the many talents that the person has. But what is very significant, which I would like you to know, when I was president of the Student Representative Council during the dark days of apartheid, he and others had already formed a Black Staff Association. There were many white fellows who were teaching here, but the call of duty to defend the aspiration of black people came upon him and his colleagues, and he was the leader of the Black Staff Association here. And we who were in the SRC, which is significant, we used from time to time to consult with him so that the student and the Black Staff Association would act in unison. It didn't end there. When we were arrested and charged for terrorism, he was one of those we called upon to say, Professor, can you come and defend us? Because what we were doing was the truth. And the professor came to court to defend the truth. So, in other words, we worked with him right through up until we were sent to Robben Island. There is one professor who has never shied away from the struggle of our people. And if you read what is in here, you would see the many things that the professor has done for our country. So he's actually the son of the soil, and he's actually part of the revolution. He's actually part of shaping the direction in which our country needed to go. But before Professor comes here, I want to read something, just a quote from one of the leaders of our continent, called Joshua Nkomo. And it's very telling. Now, Joshua Nkomo once said, and this I would like people to listen. He says when he was, when Zimbabwe had been freed from colonialism, and then when he was an old man, he says, the hardest lesson of my life has come to me late. It is that hardest lesson, it is that a nation can win freedom without its people becoming free. That's Joshua Nkomo. He says a nation can win freedom without its people becoming free. I hope that the professor will help us also along those lines. I'm now going to call upon Professor Jesla Nkondo to address us.
Thank you very much. This is my alma mater. I want to thank the chairman of council. You know what? We talk of climate change in this country. And every day we wake up to bad news. Scandal after scandal, state capture after state capture, corruption, and so on and so on. But I want to suggest to you that there is enough evidence, certainly in the last 60 years, of tremendous progress. And if we had time, we would produce an index of progress to show that in the midst of all the turmoil, the liberation movement in its entirety has changed the shape and the direction of this country. When I was, those days I was called a permanently temporary junior lecturer because I couldn't qualify to be permanent. The chairperson of your council, Dr. Seth Cooper, were very, very active in the student movement. And what we are here celebrating is the embodiment of the courage, the embodiment of the will, and the embodiment of the discipline and the hope for change. So, although there are still difficulties, and the media compounds it, on the ground, scientifically we can prove that the liberation movement has done this country and Africa a great service. But my contribution, I've written quite a longish monograph on the history of this country. I've just given a copy of the paper to the Vice Chancellor and Chairperson. I'll put it in their email, and if you want to follow it up, you can read. It's too long for me to read here. But I made sure that, out of respect for Turfloop and for this country, we have to share our deeper reflections about how we came to be where we are and what we should do to move towards fundamental change. I want to suggest to you as students, you are dealing with a complex question of telling the story of Turfloop. I want to dwell quickly on how that should be done. And as a teacher myself, I spent some time trying to find out what strategic questions should I suggest that will prompt you to think more carefully about the history of the university. The first question that I should look at very carefully, what does it take to know the story of Turfloop? What exactly should be done to make sure that the various events that took place over 60 years are seen as part of an internal logic of change? When we came here, there was separate seating, women this side, men this side, and I, as president of the SRC, staged the protest and mixed the sittings to the amazement of the dean of students. And then later, we fought very hard here to establish the first SRC in historically black university, the first SRC. It took us a lot of work. So that the sense in which the governance of university administration owes its origins to this university. the government, how you are being governed as students, owes its origins to some of the people. So it's an important matter. So let's find out which were the major events at Turfloop. It's so difficult to identify events because you must be able to say, were there significant reasons why this took place? Were there significant consequences after that? The first significant event here is when the terrorism bill was in court, was in Parliament. We organized an underground mass meeting where we tore it apart. One student from Bradford said, but Mr. President, why worry about this bill? Why analyze it? Let's just get rid of it, man. Don't worry about it. So that was, and it registered that students at Turfloop were taking on, a major political struggle. And the other universities, unfortunately, people like Dr. Seth Cooper were at University of Devon Wesley, and we mobilized. The second major event is when the Frelimo attained its independence in Mozambique. The chairman of the council, Dr. Seth Cooper, Nengwe Pool and others, mobilized all black campuses to celebrate the Frelimo independence. And of course, there was commotion on campuses. The state appointed a certain Judge Snyman to come and investigate the sources of the unrest. And the black staff asked me to come and defend it. That was the first. So we take on board a very, very vicious system, but we show the courage that it takes if you want to bring about change in this country. And then, of course, your chairman of council, Seth Cooper, and others were arrested, charged under terrorism. And an advocate, Sobot, who was a senior counsel, asked me to be one of the defense witnesses. Steve Biko was defense witness number 1 and appeared in court to defend what he called then the philosophical underpinnings of black consciousness. Brilliant. I think he had published a book called, I think, the Testimony of Steve Biko. Look at that book. Brilliant presentation in defense of the underpinnings of black consciousness. A day after, I was asked to come up and defend black consciousness, arts and literature. Because every August, since after 1972, we organized a 2-week celebration of African arts, music. People like Wale Siroj, the Dashiki, everybody came here to celebrate. Why is that important? We're making a statement that we cannot allow Western thought. We cannot allow Western civilization to set the terms of our life here. We can't allow English to be the only language of science. We can't allow French, German, we can't allow. In Africa, African languages must be the languages of knowledge, of science. It has taken time to achieve that. It's still not, but today there are 5 universities in the country where this is being systematically done, and this includes your university. At UKZN, you can do a PhD in physics in Isuzu. University of I know that there are 2 PhDs last 3 years. When you do a PhD in Isipedi, Tsonga, or Venda, that's a major change.